Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Electrician's Masterclass, where knowledge is power. I'm Joe Spina, and I'm your virtual New Jersey electrical license prep course instructor. And you could find us at electriciansmasterclass.com. Okay, so today we are going to talk about residential service disconnects and why they are required now. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is what we got. We have a two-family house, all right, with 2 meters, all right, and each meter has its own panel with a main breaker on the inside, okay? So what happened was the inspector came by and he said that there was no outside disconnect, especially for the one that's the top floor apartment, okay? Because it's further than 5 feet from when you come into the house from where the service is. Um, you know, Usually a main panel will be 5 feet from where the meter is on the inside of the house, within 5 feet. Otherwise, you have to put a disconnect, okay? So in this case, you have to definitely put one upstairs, so you might as well put a disconnect for both, all right? And I'll tell you why, the reason why he wanted the disconnects, okay? So that was before we even touched it, all right? So now after we touched it, as you can see, um, to the left of the meter pan over here, all right, um, we have the SEU cable coming in, all right? That's the SEU cable, which is a two-wire cable, all right? Um, it's coming into the disconnect, the 200 amps is like 200 amps coming in. And then out of it, I came out with a 100 amp cable, all right, into the disconnect. So the one side, the left side is the first floor, the second side is the second floor. And then so I fed the disconnect, with the two wire, okay, each disconnect. All right. So now what's going to have to happen is since the main panel, your main disconnect is on the outside, your main panel now becomes a sub panel with a breaker in it, with a main with a cutoff breaker in it. All right, because we can't really call it a main because it's not really a main anymore. It's just a cutoff breaker for the panel. This is your main, which I have a breaker that goes into each disconnect, and they're both 100 amps. All right. So out of the disconnect, all right, this is again the two wire, the SEU cable coming out, all right, and it's going into each disconnect, all right. And then what we have is the service disconnects, all right. This is the main disconnects, and from here we had to take a three-wire cable, all right, because now the panels inside, which were main panels, we have to take the green bonding screw out, okay? And we have to put a ground bar in because now we're separating the ground from the neutral, all right? So from the disconnect right here, each one, all right, um, gets um, a separate cable going into there so that we have two hots, we have a neutral, and we have a ground, all right? And the neutral is going to stay by itself now. Once we take that screw out, it's not bonded to the cabinet inside anymore. All right. The bond is going to be over here in these disconnects. So the bond screws in these disconnects. If you look in the right side middle over there next to the breaker, you can see the green ground screw. All right. So that bonds the main disconnects. They're outside now. Okay. And so that brings us to the inside. All right. So now what I had was I had two panels next to each other. All right. The original panels. And so one ground wire from one disconnect goes into this panel. One ground wire from the other disconnect goes into the other panel. All right. And then we have a ground wire going from this ground bar, okay, to the next ground bar and to the next panel. So everything is grounded. All right. So this is what it looks like when it's done. Everything is labeled, and everything is complete. You want to do a neat job, Um, always try to do a neat job. Okay. That's how you keep your customers, your good customers. All right. All right. So this is the code requirement. All right. It started in 2020. And the NEC first introduced the requirement in section 23085 to have an emergency disconnect at one and two family dwelling units. This was to ensure the first responders, which are the firemen, have a suitable exterior disconnecting means in the event of a natural disaster, fire, flood, and the like. So that's it. Any new construction, you put a brand new service, um, it has to have a service disconnect on the outside. Okay. So the fireman could shut it off in an emergency. All right. Um, so that's it for today, guys and girls. All right. Thank you. Click like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.